A lot of us, struggled to find our feet. We weren't on the phone with our clients. We've let this time go by, and we're all a little shocked that it's July 1st. So for those of you who are saying, gosh, how can I make my numbers for the year? Charlie and I are here to help you with that. So the idea of popbys in a pandemic, I have some friends who are doing really, really well with this. They've converted all of their events. They do events every year with their clients, and they've converted all of their events to popbys instead.
Amy, always good to see you. Amy is our real estate coach for RE/MAX Allegiance. Can you believe it is already July 1st?
No, actually, I was this morning when I heard that on the radio. I don't know how I let this week get by me.
What a weird first half of the year. I hope that the second half of the year is better for everybody. What do we have on tap for today?
Well, I'm eager to have you share, because I think that your take on the second act of 2020 is phenomenal. So I'm excited to talk with everyone, with you, about your idea.
Awesome. So second act of 2020, I think we want to talk about what that looks like. And it's a group of 20s.
Yes.
20 popbys,
yes.
20 annual home value reports, and
yes.
20 annual letter to clients.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the popbys. I'm going to load up the annual letter to clients as you talk about popbys. So where do you want to start when it comes to popbys? Why don't we just explain the concept here? Because this is a little bit different. We're not talking
Sure.
about making appointments with somebody. We're talking about, dropping off, taking a photo, texting it. Let's kind of start from the beginning about what this kind of different concept might be to some people.
Yeah, and I want to back up just for anybody who doesn't necessarily watch every single thing that you and I do, Charlie, to talk about. We're really encouraging you in the second half of the year to just really put some intention around getting engaged, getting in front of your people. If you're one of those agents, if you're one of those teams that's already working as hard as you can, then maybe our advice is not for you. But a lot of us, struggled to find our feet. We weren't on the phone with our clients. We've let this time go by, and we're all a little shocked that it's July 1st. So for those of you who are saying, gosh, how can I make my numbers for the year? Charlie and I are here to help you with that. So the idea of popbys in a pandemic, I have some friends who are doing really, really well with this. They've converted all of their events. They do events every year with their clients, and they've converted all of their events to popbys instead. And it's super simple, whatever the cool thing is that you leave on the porch. And in their case, it was a plant that you could put in your garden. It was not an inside plant that would get ruined on the porch, but something that could survive outside. They'd put it on their porch, take a picture of it, text them and say, we left you something, and run away. Made it faster than knocking.
Right.
I've heard trainers say it's a popby, not a plop-by. Don't stay and drink wine. You got to keep going. So COVID's the perfect excuse to just be in action. We've got a few ideas for different kinds of popbys as well.
So 20 in a month.
Yes.
And, we were talking about this yesterday, and I said, let's just keep this simple, right? It's 2020. Do 20 of each.
Yes.
In July.
Yes.
It's not that many. You can knock out, 10 this coming weekend and then 10 the next weekend and then be done for the entire month of July. What about some ideas of what the popbys could be, right? I mean, this really runs the gamut from,
it really can be.
I just, pop by to say hello and wish you well, and it's a bag of popcorn, right? Yep. To the plant idea. For me, I'm thinking these are not like farming popbys, right? This is not going to be 400 of them necessarily in a neighborhood. These are your best clients, perhaps,
yes.
And therefore maybe the plant is a good idea, or something a little bit more. What was it? There was an ice cream kit that we saw yesterday that had. Was it a sundae kit?
An ice cream sundae kit in a box. Yeah, I really want to do that one. But Charlie, after we talked, I found one that's pretty simple. You can create a s'mores kit. so easily. Go
Nice.
get
Okay.
s'mores, put them in a cellophane bag, put a cute tag on there. Yeah.
So
I told you about my coaching client who does COVID survival kits. So,
oh yeah, yeah. Tell us more about that.
And a bottle of wine, baby. Yeah.
Only in 2020.
Right.
I think that's a good idea. For other ideas, really, you just Google realtor pop buys.
Yep.
There are tons in Google. Pinterest has gobs. So I don't think that you'll have a problem coming up with pop buy content. So let's try to knock 20 of those out.
Well, and I want to say one more thing about that.
Yeah.
So for those who are going to overthink this, 20 is completely doable. So please don't make it that you don't do it. And I have a friend who Popeyes is a huge part of her business. And they do them every single quarter, and they do 120 of them, and they usually have it done in a day. So don't feel like we intimidated you with the 20. Map your route, plan where you're going to go. Don't drive yourself crazy retracing your steps. Just make a plan and take action.
I love it. 20 annual home value reports, rather, and there's instructions on how to do this activity in theallegianceway.com. You click on Get More Sellers. You click on Annual Home Value Reports. We've talked about this in previous shows. People who haven't tuned in or know what this is. We are advocates of printing out a very nice looking value report for our clients and mailing it to them once a year. Do not do all 20 in 1 week unless you're committed to following up with those same 20 the next week by phone. So maybe it's 10 over the next week, 10 the following week. I had a coaching client that told me one time, he said, that I sent out my 200 letters, coach. And, that was fantastic, but there's no way to follow up with that many people. So we don't want to send more, and we don't want to send more out than we have time to follow up with. But what I am an advocate of using RPR for this. For those of you in the DC metro market, there was a concern that Long & Foster, which is a mega company in our market, was not providing data to RPR. They have been now for the better part of a year, so the data is good. I just run a property report, and it's about 20 to 30 pages. You print it out, and I have had coaching clients have their clients come to them and say, I can't believe you spent this much time coming up with this report for me, right? They really like it. And the reality is you spent about 5 minutes, right? The only thing you really need to check is to make sure that the Google drive-by photo of the house looks appropriate. Sometimes the angles are weird. For whatever reason, if you were to put in my condo in DC, that address, the photo is literally a picture of a brick wall from the alley. I don't know why Google thinks that is the front of our building, because it's not. But that's an example that you may want to then swap out a photo, right? But other than that, it's ready to go. The instructions will provide you with a letter. It provides you with the instructions on how to get into RPR, which of course is free. We all pay for it with our realtor dues. And then how to print the report. RPR gives you a targeted range of value. I would highlight that. And then the letter says, if you want a specific value of your home, I'm happy to come over and do that. Or we can do it over Zoom, right? Whatever's appropriate for your market and whatever stage or comfort level you are with COVID. So an easy project. I think everybody that we know should get one of those every year. And it's a great thing to do for your farm as well. We forget that. This is not something that's super time consuming, and we are not advocates of emailing this. Am I right?
Right. Well, it depends, right? So to clarify, and as long as we're going deep on annual home value reports, let's really talk about what's entailed here. There are lots of different ways that you can update people about their home's value, right? You can do a neighborhood update. You can do an RPR. You can do, a link to some sort of an automated valuation model. There are a lot of things you could do, and all of them would be better than nothing.
Right.
In this case, what we're talking about is something really, really lovely, something really attractive, something that they really feel like hanging on to, right? There's a guy in my mastermind at my brokerage who did 100 last week, unlike Charlie said. But
wow.
He and his mom do them in batches, and they always do it this way. But it's a huge part of the way they run their business. annual home value reports is a huge part of their value proposition.
Okay.
They do them around their mega open houses, they do them in their own neighborhoods, and they do them for their past clients in Sphere. And they don't necessarily follow up diligently, but this thing is beautifully crafted. There's a calligraphed name on the front, beautifully designed cover. This goes on the coffee table. And he said within 3 days, they had 3 listing appointments, one from a woman who just saw it on her dad's coffee table and just called them.
Wow.
Yeah. So yes, I agree with you, Charlie. Follow-up is good, but please don't overthink it. In a way, nurturing our own sphere of influence is kind of like farming. We're just farming people we already know as opposed to farming people we don't. Right. And just like any other kind of farming, it's funny that some people get confused about the concept of what do realtors mean when they say farming, but it's so similar to other types of farming. You put the seeds in the ground,
right.
You water the ground, you fertilize, you pull the weeds. Like, you really have to nurture. And the truth, and I love using the farming analogy, put peach pits in the ground and next week you have peach pie. That's not how farming works. So, right. So yes, even if you do take the time to follow up within a week, don't expect them that you've finally done something decent and they better be giving you referrals. So right. Know that you're nurturing over time, and this is a real value touch. And Charlie, I so appreciate what you said about this should be an annual thing.
Oh yeah, you just get into the habit of it, plan it out. How many people do you know? How many do you need to send per month, or how many do you need to send every other week? Do that math, throw it on a calendar. We got a tip from one of our viewers, Steve Flasterer, who is an agent in Washington, D.C., says that he's delivering luggage tags to for his popbys that he bought cheap at Nordstrom Rack. The note will be about dreaming about traveling.
Oh, cool.
So I think that's pretty neat. Anything else to add on annual home value reports before we move on to this annual letter to past clients in Sphere?
I guess, Charlie, we can do it at the end. I really want to encourage everyone to think of these last 6 months. Like, you have an opportunity, like we talked about in the last show, to create a 6-month business plan. You've got 5 months to get enough deals under contract, right, to hit the number that's going to count for the year, if that's significant to you. Otherwise, do a 12-month business plan and be shooting for next July. Either way is fine with us. But what we're encouraging you to do right now is to really, really get in high gear. So write down some time estimates, figure out how long this would take you. The thing about an annual home value report is the first time you do it, it could take you a little bit longer.
Yes.
So look at your calendar, say, I'm willing to spend this much time, I'm excited about this, and then be patient with yourself to just figure it out, figure out which of the pages you like best in the RPR, come up with your own custom cover, and just get to work.
I like it. Very good. Let me share my screen and we'll have a little chat about annual letters to past clients in Sphere. So this is also available on theallegianceway.com. You click on Get More Sellers or Get More Buyers. And the first thing it's going to ask you to do after you download the content is to make a copy of this. So then you can edit on your own.
Okay.
I made this letter well over a year ago. You'll note that it does not talk about uncertain times or COVID. It says, I hope things are well with you, right? So if you need to edit this to make it more appropriate for your people, then please do so.
Yeah.
So the idea of this letter is we are reasserting for our people what we do, where we work. So in the DC metro area, we have 3 jurisdictions. There's not that many agents that are licensed in all 3. So maybe you talk about where you're licensed, but of course you have contacts in all 3 jurisdictions and, and this and that. This came up on a coaching call earlier today that, we had an agent that's licensed in Virginia, but now our clients want to look in Maryland and, what is she going to do? How is she going to handle that? So anyway, that was just a quick aside. So I hope things are well with you. I wanted to remind you that I'm a full service realtor and I specialize in the following. Again, change this as you feel appropriate. There are people out there that believe that, Charlie can sell my home, but I need another agent to help me buy a home. They don't know that most agents do both, right? So this is just one way. So I rep sellers, I rep buyers, I rep landlords, I help investors. I can help you with nationwide relocation or investing. The home value reports, which we just talked about, that's something that I do. And then of course, the referrals to home service providers. And then we go down And if I can find the actual letter here.
To scroll.
To scroll.
Those
Go
who are
ahead,
not as
Amy.
experienced as Charlie, who can't say, I do all these things, I want to recommend that you could edit this letter to say, I can help you find. So although I don't think I would offer to find a property manager, I think I did that once, that backfired. But all of us, especially at RE/MAX Allegiance, have access to so many tools and such a vast network of resources that you can always say, I can help you find, right? Whatever it might be.
Thank you.
Local trades, something like that. I think offering a broad range of services and just letting them know that you have tremendous resources can be great.
And then, we just recommit to them that we are their resource for anything and everything real estate and home related from the minute they consider buying their first home until they've sold their last home, and to get in touch if they have any questions or if they need anything. Same goes with this letter, right? Yeah. I recommend not sending out more per week than you have time to follow up with. I like sending stuff in the mail because it makes picking up the phone easy. You have a reason to call. And we all know that realtors struggle with calls when they feel like they don't have a reason to call. Just checking in, it's really hard for people to pick up the phone. In this case, it's, hey, did you get my annual home value report? Hey, did you get my letter that I sent last week, right? Mm-hmm. So somebody just said in the comments, Chris Logan out of Alexandria, Virginia, some people still don't know that they can and should have agent representation for new construction. Good. Exactly. Right. That should be in here, right? That should be in here. So I appreciate that suggestion, Chris.
So Charlie,
go ahead, Amy.
I have a plug then for the buyer and seller guides that you provide to your agents or RE/MAX Allegiance. There is fodder in there to fuel this letter.
Yes.
Something like, I can help you, I can represent you in buying a home for sale by owner or new construction or whatever. So if you're struggling for ideas, if you're newer and you don't have as many credentials as some, check out the RE/MAX Allegiance home buying and selling guides for ideas for things that you can do to promote the service that you offer.
I love it. And that is also available at theallegianceway.com. All of this content is at theallegianceway.com. We have plenty of extra time here, Amy. What else are you thinking for second half of 2020?
I think I got 9 new coaching clients in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to bring in clients who have either not been coached before or were coached by a different coach, and to try to take their temperature, find out where they are and what they need, and then to show them some of the things that we've been creating, for the Daily Dose, for the Allegiance Way. Mm-hmm. We've provided so many wonderful things, and I'm not trying to brag on us, but we have done an amazing job since COVID hit and we all started respecting social distancing and had to shift the way we do our business.
Right.
So I just want to encourage you, if you're daunted at all, if you're listening to us and thinking, yeah, this sounds good, but I've committed before and it's challenging, I want to encourage you to make some sort of a visual map for yourself. And this is what I do for my coaching clients. I say, okay, let's map this out, right? You want to do 20 pop buys? How long does it take to buy the stuff?
Yep.
Okay, let's write that down. How far are you going to have to drive? Can we bring that in? Let's not overthink it. Let's take your top 20 or your closest 20. Let's be strategic, right? Mm-hmm. Let's really do a punch list that makes good sense. And then you say, okay, great. I need to have this done in the next 4 days, and I'm confident that I can. Get somebody to help you, get somebody to come with you, get someone to hold you accountable. Take us seriously. Staying in touch with your people makes such a difference. It's just incredible when you pick up the phone and they say, oh my goodness, I was just thinking about you, or, oh, your timing couldn't be better. So I don't want you to overthink it, although it's easy. And this is a psychological thing. Most of us are very visually driven. Okay. So we think about stuff, and you and I both have seen this, right, Charlie, that our clients will say, I've been trying, or I've been thinking, or I've been kind of stuck in my thinking. It's just really not a great way to sort through your thoughts and take action. Mm-hmm. To grind on it. Just imagine the hamster wheel in your head. That's it. So I really want to encourage everyone, whether it's a spreadsheet or simply a piece of paper, create a map of what you're trying to accomplish, put some time estimates, write down the resources. I actually have a spreadsheet for myself. It says, how much time is it going to take? What's the deadline? What resources do I have available to me? Can I call my broker? Can I go into the RE/MAX Allegiance resources? Is it there?
Right.
Where can I find these things? And then give yourself a deadline and then just really press. And the other thing I said last time we talked is push yourself to do hard things and feel proud of yourself. If you feel some resistance in doing this, say, Amy's right, it's working, and do it anyway. Hard things will take you so far. So don't resist just because you haven't done this before.
I like it. And, we're all sitting on that gold mine, right? The gold mine of the people who already know us, like us, and trust us. It is the cheapest form of business development, right? We have already worked hard to cultivate these relationships. We just need to continue to be in touch with them so they buy, sell, and refer to us. So, we've said before, 10% of the people who are in that group should be buying, selling, or referring every year. If you know 250 people, you should be looking at a couple deals a month from that group on average. And in many markets in the Mid-Atlantic region, those are big commission dollars right there. So we're all sitting on this. So the quarterly calls to that group are important, and what we've discussed today with what we're sending in the mail, which is the annual letter to clients, it does go in the mail. Right, that's not an email letter; it's a mailed letter.
Right.
It makes picking up the phone that much easier. So if we want to do quarterly calls, well, you've got their birthday. There's one out of the way, right? You've got annual letter to clients. There's one, and then you've got the annual home value report. There's one. So 3 of your 4 calls are taken care of, right? You only need to be clever, right, about picking up the phone for the 4th time. And when we go back to client events, that can be your 4th call, right, and inviting them to a client event. So calls are done. You don't have to worry about what to say. You just have a conversation with somebody, and realtors are good at that, right? If you can make a friend while standing at the line at Safeway to check out and pay for your groceries, you can call a past client or a member of your sphere. I know you can do it. What else you got for us today, Amy?
Well,
any last minute thoughts?
Yes, I think we're really hitting upon something foundational, and that is a lot of agents are reluctant to pick up the phone because they feel like they're being pushy. Right? And I always say to my coaching clients, please don't be pushy. The time to educate your clients about your service is when you serve them, right? So, really having an extraordinary buyer process, which we help you with too, having an extraordinary listing process, provide the best possible service at the time. Don't shortchange your service. That's the first thing. Then keep them in the know over time and treat your own friends, family, past clients, sphere of influence like a farm. If you don't drip on them over time, if you don't educate them about the market, they're not necessarily going to think of you as a go-to resource for real estate. So if you call them cold, right? Haven't talked to them, haven't mailed to them, haven't been in touch in a couple years, they did buy a house from you, and then you just start saying, want to buy or sell, want to buy or sell, want to buy or sell. Yes, you are being pushy, right? So I would say, start treating your sphere of influence like the farm that it is, and it deserves the same amount of nurture, and it will yield. So look into the Allegiance way for the resources that we've been providing over time, and stay tuned. We'll keep bringing you more. But create a plan. Oh, I guess here's my other suggestion, Charlie.
Sure.
I rolled this out for a brand new coaching client yesterday, this concept of developing your business by quarters.
Okay.
What if you had 4 major sources of business that you wanted to develop in your business? Most of us just start dabbling in them all at once, right? Well, I hope my sphere refers me, and maybe I'll try expireds. And what about geo farming and social media? And you just sort of put a toe in the water and do a little of this and a little of that. And we're all guilty of having called at least 3 expireds and hate it and run away.
Right.
So I want to say, for my coaching clients, unless they can prove to me that they have time in their schedule to diligently launch more than one, I ask that you look at a 12-month vision and think about what would it look like if you took 90 days to really, really fix the way you market to your sphere of influence, to friend them on social media, to start sending them a quality market update every single month, to put them on some sort of a birthday distribution, like put the pieces in place. And if you think that that's going to be too abrupt because you've neglected them so long, and if you start barraging them with good stuff now, they're going to think you had a seizure. Well, that's what this commitment letter is for. Send them the commitment letter. Tell them that it's coming, right? And then start delivering on the promise. Now, after 90 days, if you feel like you've finally gotten your house in order and you're ready to move on to the next thing and you want to become a social media expert, Great. You've got 90 days to watch YouTube videos, to go back and look at the content strategies we've offered to really start implementing things at a high level. So I would also recommend that if you are not running your business from systems, that you think about putting 4 or so, I like 3 or 4 personally, major sources of business in place by really focusing on them one at a time.
I love it.